What's going on? What's popping? So you know what I say. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Your Wolfpack Performance Talk Podcast, F1 Minute, the hottest live show on the planet for Formula One content. And I did tell you all, I told you all, coming into Monaco, although Monaco may be a snooze fest, there will be action and all types of news that will be developed. And so here we are. And this is not really just groundbreaking news, but it is important, it is key, and it is very interesting, and it is going to be a big shift in Formula One that is going to be taking place. We got all types of other things surrounding Formula One right now. We got Ferrari supposedly putting a deal together to try to acquire Lewis Hamilton. Now we have Aston Martin, who has actually made a move is to come out of being a customer team into a works team and partnering with Honda for a power unit so that they can move forward and basically move forward without Mercedes. All right. Up until this point, or still up until this point, and even until they actually make everything happen. What's going on, fam? The mechanic, Mary Beanie. Until they make everything happen, until everything is solidified, they still will be running Mercedes components. But when the day comes, they switch over to Honda, they'll be having to develop a lot of things on their own. You know, they were already using the suspension, the gearbox, several other components, and rightfully so. I got to say, at the beginning of the season, Aston Martin were using these components at least in a better performance sense than Mercedes were. Mercedes have been struggling since 2022. They came into 2023 seeming like things may start kind of lifting, but seem to still be struggling with the concept of the W14, the predecessor of the W13, and still unable to really unlock the so-called potential that they said was within that concept. It didn't happen. But then you go to the flip side with Aston Martin, still having the power unit, the suspension components, the gearboxes, everything else the same aside from floor development and aero package development. And Aston Martin at least starting the season off what seemed to be more successful. Now, at this point in time, Aston Martin and Mercedes seem to kind of almost be, I'll call it leveling out. It would seem that Mercedes seem to be developing at a pace where that is not seeming as such as a gap. Because right now there are only a few points that are separating them in the World Constructors' Championship, Mercedes and Aston Martin. And I will say that I think a lot of that is credited to, and we're going to talk about this, Lance Stroll, all right, Lawrence's son, the son seat. Like usually we say paid seat, this is a son seat. And right now he's holding the seat at Aston Martin, and it's got to be a question that needs to be asked. Is that going to hinder them if they actually do get this program off the deck and start to become such a competitive team that they not only can compete for driver championships, but constructor championships? You do need two solid drivers that can put you in points more often than not to get that constructor's championship. Right now, Stroll is not really doing his part, and that is why Aston Martin is going to start falling short, and Mercedes is likely to take that second spot. But let's just talk about the power shift that's going on. Because Aston Martin, although they locked in their deal, like it's a done deal until it's not, right? Anything can happen. We thought the whole Porsche and Red Bull situation was going to take place, and that fell apart. You know, Porsche wanted 50% of Red Bull Technologies. Porsche definitely coming in, being the big dog. Christian Horner and other managing heads deciding they didn't want to do such a deal, and it fell apart, and we haven't heard anything from Porsche since then. And I know a lot of us have been campaigning for Andretti to get into the sport. That seems like it's disappeared, although we felt Andretti ticked off all the boxes that Formula One said weren't ticked in order for them to get in. They said the dilution fee wasn't enough. Andretti came with more money. They said that he needed to partner with somebody that would give him a better financial standing and make them feel certain that he'd be in the sport longer than just a season. He got with GM, the biggest car manufacturer in America, and also the Cadillac, Tahoe, Chevy, whatever you want to say. GM is one of those companies, and then he did that, and they said, okay, what about the engine? And they didn't. So it just seemed like they kept moving the goalposts. But so deals can not form up the way it always is presented. Although this seems like this is going to be something that is said to be. Plus, Red Bull is set to move on with their life after 2025, going into 2026 with Ford. Okay, now I still question if that's actually going to take place the way it's presented. Is Ford actually going to develop their own power unit? Are we going to see an over-badging, pretty much like we saw with Ford Cosworths, okay? I wonder that. Red Bull Technologies is like, that's like a paper mache. It's not even real. It's not even real to me, honestly. But Aston Martin getting with Honda in this power shift that I was speaking of. Will I Am says, big shout out for the super chat. It says, if Alonso stays until 2026, he won't complain about the engine. Bro, and I'm going to talk about that. Will, I'm going to talk. That's why you my brother, bro. At this time, he'll be complaining about Stroll, GP2 driver, GP2. Thank you. We're going to talk about that. That is right here. I'm definitely going to hit on that point as far as Aston Martin and Alonso and the way he conducts himself. We've already started to see a different side, or at least a different mask for Alonso. I don't think he's really changed as a person. I think what has changed is his situation and his circumstances. I think he's extra happy and giddy about the fact that now he is more relevant. He doesn't have to use Lewis Hamilton's name to be relevant, because up until this time, anytime Alonso wanted to come off being relevant, he always said something about Lewis Hamilton. That's the cheat code, right? If you're not relevant in a sport, then you say something about Lewis Hamilton, who is the most relevant person and driver in all-time history of Formula One, okay? Just like Brooks did when he wanted to say LeBron's old. Bro, your game's whack. Your team talks more crap than they win. What's the best way to get attention? You say LeBron James, boom, you're going to get that highlight. But at this point in time, Alonso is really relevant because the AMR 23 and the program at Aston Martin has put him in a position, along with his ability to drive a car. Alonso is a good driver. He's done a lot of good things. He's very analytical when it comes to what's going on track. I still don't call Alonso great, okay, because there are certain metrics that I'm looking for you to be great, all right? 2 championships, along with you being paired with several scandals throughout the course of your career, I don't think make you great. It makes you very good. And one day, maybe people might say a legend, right? Because a legend could be somebody. Clyde Drexler could be a legend, right? Akeem Olajuwon could be a legend. You know, Pele could be a legend. Nolan Ryan can be a legend, okay? But great, I don't call Alonso great. You need a little bit more for me in your bank of championships and accomplishments and or records in Formula One for me to say great, okay? Or you need to have revolutionized the sport itself, like Niki Lauda came in with Ferrari, did some revolutionary things, development with the car, very headstrong personality. He's going to be great, okay? Although he quit shy of his time, maybe it wasn't shy of his time. Niki Lauda encountered a very bad accident that changed his perception on life, and I applaud the way he walked out. At least he didn't cheat it up. At least he didn't fake like it was some. Niki Lauda did his thing, okay? So to me, yeah, Niki Lauda's great, although he doesn't have all the championships that 4-time or 7-time Lewis Hamilton would have. And I was going to say Seb, but yeah, he's got that. So King Ring, big shout out for the super sticker. Mary Beanie say Papa Stroll needs to replace Son and get Felipe, and that is something else we could talk about. But back to the power shift. If McLaren are now, or they have been, this is why I say this is not groundbreaking news, because we've already heard rumblings that McLaren was interested in doing a partnership deal with Honda. Aston Martin already had peeped about it. It's just now the deal is signed. And this is what you call a power shift. At first, it's all about Mercedes. Mercedes is running it up. Championship after championship for their driver. Championship after championship for the team, the constructor. Everybody wants a piece of that. This is a copy sport. People are going to copy and or mimic what is doing the best. And right now, what is doing the best and what is impressing team principals, what is impressing board members, what is impressing CEOs, what is impressing even drivers is the fact that the RB19 is a rocket ship. Adrian Newey has engineered and developed a car, and that team in Red Bull Racing are very successful. I know a lot of people, including myself, may not agree with the characters that exist in Red Bull, but I don't think that there's anything to debate when it comes to the ability and the performance of Red Bull. Although you can throw in the salt, real salt of the cost cap. They breached by 1.8 million something pounds, and that indeed could have found its way into the performance of the car. So yeah, you could debate that even that is tainted. But still, the car, RB19, regardless of how it was developed, the developments that are within that car to produce that pace are astounding. And what is a power unit in that car is a Honda. It's a mimic type league. And we already know Aston Martin has a history of mimicking and copying, okay? But even in this era, Aston Martin have taken the finer bits of other teams and cars on the grid, Alpine, Ferrari, even Red Bull, and themselves, and combined them to make a successful car. They have done this. So I don't think that can be deeply discounted because it is what it is, right? I can't take any credit from them on that. All right, they've also developed something when it came to their floor T-tray area. They developed that. Ferrari got credit for it, although Ferrari's not copying Aston Martin to upteenth degree at this point in time, because even the Aston Martin concept of the downwash side pod top area is a variation of Alpine, which is a variation of Ferrari, okay? And we're going to get on Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton a little bit in this same situation. So there's a power shift. Now Red Bull are the team to beat and the team to be. So that Honda power unit, definitely, people are going to want to get some of that to try to mimic and kind of graph out the side pod. And if they could the floor, they're going to do that. But I still ask, is Aston Martin jumping ship too soon? Well, that's a twofold type of question. If they're wanting to be a team that is not going to be held back on development based off of being a customer team and not being able to, it's like a puzzle piece. Like, I don't know if any of you do custom cars. I do custom builds. I got custom wide body kit coming. When you get a part that may be built for a plethora of generations in your car, you kind of fit it in, you buy something and you try to work it in and form it up the best way you can to personalize it for yourself. There's still something different about developing a part ground up to fully fit your build. But there are still some pros and some cons that come with that. The ground floor of development comes with a lot of learning. It comes with a lot of downfalls. It comes with a lot of happiness. It comes with a multitude of different things throughout the course of building that process up to finally get it to the point where it is fully customized, made just for you, personalized, one of one. All right. Aston Martin are going to have to go through that as well. Because if they're going to do the Honda deal, they're going to become the worst team. They're not going to have the Mercedes gearbox. They're not going to have the Mercedes suspension. They're not going to have the Mercedes fuel. There's a lot of things that Aston Martin are now going to have to be responsible for. But I'm just saying there are benefits of being that team that fully have control over the way your platform and everything suit together. There are. But there are also cons to that if you actually don't end up getting it right. And you are going to be fully to blame and hold for that. So another thing that I'm looking into is this, that I'm looking at, right, is Honda becoming a full staple, becoming the catalyst for change. Like LeBron James, wherever he went, championships follow. Like he just got knocked out the playoffs, true. But look how many times LeBron has made it to the championship game. And look how many teams where he's went and he's been that catalyst to bring a championship. Also, the Bill Belichick and Tom Brady argument, right? Which one of them is more responsible for the Patriots having as many championships as they have? Is it Bill or is it Tom? Tom leaves the Patriots, goes to Tampa Bay, changes the form, changes the entire environment, changes the culture, and what does he do? He wins a championship. Bill Belichick hasn't won a championship since Tom Brady has left. Not one. Hasn't even sniffed one. Okay? So is Honda now going to be that power unit supplier that is like, we are the catalyst for change? Because if they prove to get with Aston Martin and Aston Martin win a championship, it shows you that, you know what, it says to them at least to be marketable as that power unit that will bring you a championship regardless of who you are. Yeah, we won championships with Red Bull. Adrian Newey was there. He could be heavily credited for it. But we're going to come out of there. We're going to go with Aston Martin. If Aston Martin win a championship just shortly after being paired up with a Honda power unit, that's very big for them. That's very big for Honda. It's very big. It's a coin that they can use to market themselves, and other teams are going to follow. Other teams are going to follow. Other teams are going to want contracts with that. That's just how it is. That is how it is. That is how it's going to go. This is a copy type sport. People want to be the best, they want to beat the best, and they want to have what the best have. And right now, the best is Red Bull Racing, and they have the Honda Power Unit, and they have Adrian Newey. And if Aston Martin could get Adrian Newey and the Honda Power Unit, believe me, they would do so. Nobody should knock Aston Martin for making the moves they are making to try to be the best team that they can be eventually in the season or so. It won't be this season. But I got to credit Lawrence. I got to credit Stroll. He's strolling on him. He big stepping right now. So big shout out to him. But there are some things that are some hangups. My man Will talked about it just earlier. Alonso being Alonso himself, what has he always done? What has he done? Been smirked, been smug, said disrespectful things. And he did so against Honda. All right? Called Honda GP2 engines. He disrespected them. See, this is why you got to be careful about what you say to people, about people, and how you treat people, because you don't know when your paths are going to cross again. He probably wrote Honda off. He probably felt that Honda's performance would probably deem them to never be back in Formula One again, right? They probably would never come back and try it again, but they did. And successfully they are. And now a team that signed you, which was a good sign for Stroll on the exit of Vettel, which I wish Vettel would still been around. I think Vettel paid the price, and now Stroll and Alonso are benefiting from a price that Vettel paid. I think we still would have saw good driving in the AMR 2020 with the AMR 23 was said behind the wheel. I don't think there's too much different there. I think Seb still would have podiums just as much as Alonso would have. But still, Alonso is a comparable sign, and he still brings that benefit to the team. But they got to figure out what are they going to do, because I'm telling you, the Japanese culture don't do well with disrespect. They do not do well. They don't stomach it well. They do not. Have you seen some of the things within their culture that happen to people that either fall short of goals promised to a family or clan, or fall short of being respectful within a certain environments? They do not do well with that. And Alonso had disrespected them in the form of motorsports. And I'm telling you, they took it personal. They took it personal, or else they wouldn't have took the steps that they did to try to ban Alonso, right? But now success can change things. Success has changed things for Alonso. Am I lying? Am I lying? Success has changed things for Alonso. Alonso is cheery now. He's giving all type of compliments now. He smiles now. He's being this big brother to Lance now. Success can change. So has success in Formula One with Red Bull now changed the way a Japanese culture company would take the disrespect that Alonso once dished out? Are they willing to let that be bygones? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think eventually, at some point, we're either going to see or hear Alonso doing so much brown nosing to Honda, or we're going to see something that would resemble some type of apology from Alonso for what he did in the past. But the Japanese culture, I'm telling you, do not do well with disrespect. And they're not going to come in as far as thinking they're the A side that's going to change your life, and you got a driver in Alonso that crapped all over us. Well, now you want us. Well, if you want us, this is what we need Alonso to say or do. These are the things we want Alonso to do for marketing. Something's going to have to pay. Somebody's going to have to pay. And then on top of seeing this combination of Honda, which is the Red Bull power unit, and now Aston going aboard, like we've seen Honda and Red Bull be more than podium close. Like it was shocking to me to see that Aston Martin come out with the Valkyrie, this supercar, but yet you got Max Verstappen from a competitive team driving it. Will I am. Last time Alonso pulled that nonsense, Honda went as far to ban him from running Honda-powered cars in Indy 500. He better chill this time. That is what I'm talking about. Japanese culture do not take disrespect well. If it was all business, they banned the dude from running Honda-powered cars. No, sometimes business only goes so far, and I'm telling you, in some cultures, They're going to find a way to circumvent business. We still going to have business, but we're going to have this piece of cake too. And you're going to make damn sure that you make good. You better smile for the cameras. You better have everything great to say about Honda. You better be overly great when you talk about Honda power units in this era of racing. But yeah, money can bring about people to do, money can make bad people do good things. So you don't think money and good business can make somebody kind of like, hey, you know what? We'll let it ride for right now. They'll let it ride for right now. They'll let it chill for right now. But I'm telling you, it's going to be something to come back. But like I was saying, the Valkyrie, you got Max Verstappen driving it. Why wouldn't you have Lance or Alonso driving this car? But it made a lot of sense. Why? Because Red Bull were part of the project with the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Adrian Newey was heavily involved in the development of the Aston Martin Valkyrie. They got relationships everywhere. You see it. This whole thing. So you want to be the best. You got to beat the best. And sometimes that means you got to pretend or take from the best. And that is what Lawrence is doing. And I credit him. He's determined to try to take Aston Martin to the top. He is. And I'm not mad at it one bit. This man told y'all during the livery unveiling, he was serious about taking his team to the top. He was serious about trying to go and get this championship, and he has put his money where his mouth is, and he has put his feet to the ground, and he has started to create action. Aston Martin is a far better team than they were last season, this season. Facts. They now are looking at striking a deal with Honda Power Units, which who have been successful and can be credited for the success of Red Bull Racing winning their championships. Facts. Along with Perez, Checo, of course, and Adrian Newey. But facts. Lance Stroll is about to try and run it up better than Jerry Jones did. They got new facilities coming, new power unit deal with Honda, already an improved car in the AMR 23 as far as development. Now they're moving on to become their own team. So they can start building the way they want, how they want, and in the course and direction that their car needs to be. They do have some challenges, though. They do have some challenges. All right. First of all, they got to get all those pieces that they're going to build up in that Honda power unit that they're going to cradle, and all of that stuff, they got to find a way to make it work together. They're going to have to work without the Mercedes power units. The Mercedes parts, they're gone. Then they're going to have to find a way to develop and build in absence of Mercedes. They're going to have to get their fuel mixture right. But most importantly, and I'm going to tell you this, most importantly, Aston Martin, listen to me when I tell you this. I'm serious when I say this to you. You're going to have a very big decision to make if you indeed become that team that can win a championship, not only a driver's championship, but a constructor's championship. You're going to have to make a decision about your driver. And that driver that I am solely speaking about is Lance Stroll. He will be your Achilles heel. Will his dad be able to take his son's seat up there to the mountain and sacrifice it in order for the team to be what they need to be? Can you do that? That is going to be the big question to you, Lawrence. I'm not sure if he can. But we'll see. We shall see. Because he's going to have to be willing to do that. If we talking about business and we talking about winning, if Aston Martin make all of these changes, these adaptations to build a team that will be championship ready, not just for Alonso, but for the team, the Constructors' Championship, you may indeed have to be ready to sacrifice your relationship with your son and really bring a driver in that pair up with Alonso, if he's still there, to win Constructor Championships. Felipe may have to come on up, bro. You might have to really see what Felipe Drugovich is about. And if so, that means Lance goes to reserve driver. Can you go home every night? Can you see your son every day without there being any quarrel or without there being any type of rash feelings toward each other. It's what's best for the team, Lance. I need you to step on out that seat. That's what we're gonna have to see. That's what they're gonna have to end up having. That might be what they end up having to do. But of course, there's always a chance that Aston Martin indeed make all these changes and they have a major setback. Maybe they have a major setback. Who knows? It can go both ways. We see it with Mercedes, right? Change the concept of the car. I'd be damned if it ain't working right. You know what? There's a lot of potential we supposed to unlock. I'd be damned if they ain't find it, right? Now we're sitting here, post Imola, waiting for Monaco to see what this new or the new variation with all these updates, the B-Spec W14 is going to look like, but more so look like. We want to know what it's going to perform like. Has Mercedes gotten back on track? And once they get back on track, can they catch up? That is what we're going to end up seeing. That is what we want to know. And we'll see what takes place. We'll see what happens. Now let's get to something else. There you go, new facilities being built. But now we got to talk about Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton. And this ain't going to be long because I don't think there's a lot to it. Because if you hear something this loud in the sport, where there's smoke, there's fire. So at some level, either something was talked about or something has been done on Ferrari's behalf to show interest in Lewis Hamilton. But who they letting go? Let's just play this out for a second. Let's just play this out. Hypothetically speaking, Ferrari come out, announce, we got a deal for Lewis Hamilton, 40 mil. 40 mil. Who are they dropping off? Are they going to drop off Leclerc? They're going to drop off Charles because he's been wrecking it up. Or they say, you know what? We can go ahead and leave Charles. Go ahead and let another team get that. We're going to take Lewis Hamilton. He's a better driver than Charles even right now still. And then we'll keep Sainz. He's straight. He's manageable. You know what I'm saying? He ain't too bad. Usually he can get up there if Charles gets up there, not too far behind. Or do they say, you know what? We want a Russell S-type Lewis Hamilton pairing. We want to go ahead with dump Carlos, let him find other pastures to graze in. Lewis Hamilton, Shaw run it up. Now we know at least if these two drivers can compete and stay in it, we at least know we got constructor championships. Maybe not a driver championship, depending. But we at least know Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton and Charles will have constructor championships. I do believe that if they get the car right. And that's another thing. So if they do that, Lewis Hamilton, a lot of people say, gets his 8th. Well, I'm just saying. If Lewis Hamilton does join Ferrari, he's doing Ferrari the favor more than Ferrari is doing Lewis Hamilton a favor. Because up until this time, Ferrari have looked like a clown show with strategies. They've looked unreliable with power units. And they can't seem to make the right decisions at the right times because they've screwed their own driver in Charles when he's been out front like Free Willy with no Captain Ahab in sight. The only difference will be Lewis Hamilton out front like Free Willy with no Captain Ahab in sight and the car failed. So indeed, Lewis Hamilton will be doing more for Ferrari than Ferrari will be doing for Lewis Hamilton at that point in time. That's how I feel about it. Now, maybe Ferrari feel that they have more to offer and the money is not the biggest thing. We're just going to give you the money to give you around what you have now, right? And over the course of like 2019, 2020, 2021, the money has decreased, but that was a structured contract, right? 70-something, 60-something, 50, 40. And now I think it's around 35 million. I think around 35, 40 million. So the 40 million pounds is just like, we want to make sure you don't feel like you're losing anything per season. But we feel that Ferrari have more to offer you than Mercedes. Right now, we know our power units seem unreliable. But at this point in time, we haven't really had an unreliable issue with the power unit. Now, we've had some other problems as far as Charles crashing cars, and maybe the car seems like it can't be driven on the brink. But, I mean, Charles, don't drive it on the brink if it ain't there yet. But we're on our way. And we think at Ferrari, we're at least ahead of Mercedes last season and this season as far as car development. We think we got a more stable car that can be built on. Right now, Lewis, you're with a team whose car is questionable. You're with a team who's basically trying to build an entirely new car in the season. It ain't even mid-season yet. By the time they get that right, we'll be strides ahead of them. And you could be coming out the next livery veiling for us in the red. And maybe that's what else Ferrari's wrong. Everybody wants to be in the red. Everybody wants to be in the Ferrari, right? But I don't think so. I don't think it's enough for Lewis to say, you know what? I'm a dip on you, Mercedes. I don't think it is. Because if you really sit back and you look, Ferrari have had a lot of issues in just the past 2 seasons. I mean, they're losing key personnel left and right. Binotto walks off the wall, go on vacation early. Fred Vasseur is in. He's trying to get a handle on it. I mean, strategy suck. They can't even get pit stops right. They can't get none of that undercuts right. I'm not even talking about Charles' situation with him wrecking up cars. That's totally on him. But if you sit back and look, you probably say, I don't know. Mercedes is managing a debacle a little bit better than Ferrari. Maybe. The car is the biggest thing. But Ferrari have more problems than just the car. They have organizational problems. They have management problems. And they're likely going to have driver problems. Mercedes right now, we got a car problem. And if we fix the car, the drivers are happy and the team is happy. I mean, James Vowles went to Williams. That's not a big problem. Bro got upgraded. I'm proud for him. That was an upgrade. He's going up. Now, they got 2 components in Elliott and Allison. They didn't lose him. They acquired Allison, comes back. They resituate, replace Elliott where he thinks he feels betterly fit, and they got Allison. So that's not as bad as Ferrari's situation. But what does look bad is, Mercedes over the time, because they've been so great that right now they're stumbling, and then everybody realizes it. So it's coming off like it's the worst thing happening. But you got worse things. You got comparable or worse things happening with other teams. McLaren is another team. Can't seem to get it right. All right. New driver, supposed to be pizzazz. The car is sucking. They're trying to make team updates as well. The wind tunnel chamber is on hold. It's on back order. It's other teams are having issues. All right. You got Alpine. Supposed to be this driver pairing that's supposed to knock the socks off. The only thing they knocked off was 2 cars together in their own team. Ruined. Alpine ain't the best of the rest anymore. They done fell back 2 spots from where they ended up last season, and likely they not going to get that back. The mechanic, big shout out for the super chat. Lewis haters and stands, big facts. All I wanted was a lovely better or a call. I hope you know I ripped all your pictures off the wall. Mary has given us confidence to go to stand with Merck. Hey, man, why you quoting these damn Eminem facts? That's true, though. It's a bunch of people that... And there are some people that would like to see Lewis Hamilton go to Ferrari and just fail because they know Ferrari ain't there yet. They not. They're working to get there. To me, at the point in time, Ferrari definitely has a better developed car at the point in time because the W13 and W14 have fallen so short. But look at, even with a better developed car, look at the problems they had. Power unit failures across them and the customers. The damn thing caught on fire, literally. Carlos had to hop out, and then it was rolling back. Pit stop strategies. Charles was complaining, like, what the hell are you guys doing? Out with Binotto, in with Fred. David's gone. Laurent's gone. Ferrari's a mess right now. And the only thing Ferrari is looking for, I think, right now is the Jerry Jones effect. Y'all know what the Jerry Jones effect is? You got to wonder, how can the Cowboys be damn near 2 decades outside of winning anything that is remarkably relevant, yet they are still the richest and most accomplished sporting franchise on the planet? Ferrari signing Lewis Hamilton is going to be a marketing thing. Look what we got. We didn't, not championships, not constructor championship. We got Lewis Hamilton. Y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that acquisition? Ferrari, we trying to do something here. That's the best thing Ferrari's trying to do. To me, markability. That's it. Whoop-de-doo if they get Lewis Hamilton. It's going to be about, can you still win? And Lewis Hamilton, although a great driver, will not be able to win in a car that is literally a firecracking smoke bomb. He will not be able to win with people who literally cannot call strategy. No driver can. It's just too much to overcome for any driver at any point in history. It's too much to overcome. So I believe he stays with the Mercedes family. I believe that Mercedes are going to get their crap together. This happens in the sport of Formula One. People are just overplaying it because they hated Mercedes, how long they were dominant. They hated Lewis Hamilton because he's a successful black man and a driver in Formula One. Or whatever the case was, you know, people don't like some teams that win a lot. People hated Golden State. People hated the Patriots. People hated the Yankees. People just hate teams that win. I don't. Like, hey, if you winning like that, run it up until you can't run it up no more, because that's what I would do. So, yeah, I don't think Lewis Hamilton is going anywhere. I think he's going to stay right where he is. I think Ferrari is not the best option. I don't think Ferrari's doing all that great right now. Mary Bina says, I ain't giving this time of day Lewis Merck 100, 100, 100. That's what Mary Beanie says. She ain't even thinking about this happening. And I think she's right. I don't think Lewis Hamilton's going anywhere. I remember one press conference, Lewis Hamilton was like shocked that Ferrari even gave him a compliment. And Max Verstappen beside him was like, yeah, because you beating them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be complimentary now, but Ferrari just a smug. I just finished watching the Lamborghini movie with the whole competitiveness and car build against Lamborghini and Ferrari, and the movie wasn't that great, by the way. It was okay. It was all right. It wasn't great. I won't watch it twice, I'll tell you that. 083, big shout out, bro. Big shout out, bro. I'm going to tell you something. You need to look out. 083, you need to look out. Something going to be happening real soon. I checked some numbers and some statistics. I'm just saying, that's all I'm going to say. This weekend, we do have a new VIP member that will be presented. So be around for that Sunday, because I'll ask people to be around for you. But 083 said Fool's Gold always looks amazing until you really take a closer look, right? Ferrari is a team in flux. They are grabbing at straws. He is, man, preach. I don't need to say nothing off the back of that. He said enough. Preach. Will earlier said enough. Preach. They are. They grabbing at straws. They grabbing anything right now to be relevant, because right now they're looking bad to be that Formula One love child team. And if they signed Lewis Hamilton, things would be, you know, at least, like I said, on a marketing standpoint, good for them, right? It'd be a big bunch of hoopla for about a few GPs and, you know, a big talk for the rest of the season. Make Ferrari relevant in some capacity. Because right now they ain't winning. And they should be. It looks horrible. You talk about Mercedes failing. Ferrari failing is like that thing. Okay? Because they've been deemed and crowned that team since the 50s, right? But look how bad it's been for them. So I don't know why people are so like, oh, Mercedes, the world is burning. It's not burning. This shit happens. Believe me when I tell you, Mercedes will be okay at some point in time. You don't win that much and then never at some point in time come back. Even Ferrari had their downs and they came back. Williams Racing had their downs and they came back. Yeah, Williams Racing is a great Formula One team. Right now, they've been down for a long time, but go back and check the numbers. Williams Racing was doing their damn thing. Don't sleep on Williams. That's my secret crush team, Williams Racing. I might got a Williams Racing tank top up under here. You don't know. You might find out one day. But we'll see what happens. We got the Monaco GP coming up this weekend. Can be deemed as a snooze fest. But the highlights are, like I told you, things would be popping off going into this weekend. And what do you know? The deal broken with Aston Martin and Honda. We still are waiting to see what the W14 is going to look like. Also to see just, you know, how drivers respond to another race at Monaco and all the glitz and glam that happen around Monaco. And I will be watching the race very intensely because I'm passionate about motorsports and racing and anything competitive. So we'll see what happens. But big shout out to you all. We won't be long before we're in Quality Kickback Trivia. Remember, Quality Kickback Trivia. We're here. Watch Quality Kickback. Live watch with us. We have trivia games. The winner that following Sunday will spin for a $25 or $50 gift card. Freak Dogs Flair got a $50 Visa gift card. I'm talking about cash. Like I'm giving away money just to come have fun at the channel. Like that's what we do here. All right. So that would be Saturday, and then we'll be live again Sunday for finale lap, for race highlights and all the good points and the crap talk and everything we do around here. All right. Wolfpack members. We will have a Wolves Den probably prior to quali or after quali. I will post that in the Discord group. Also, if you have a green badge like Mary Beanie or a Condu or Reezy, which is R33, Z33, you need to get with me in the Discord group and get me your shipping address and 2 optional shirt sizes so I can send you your podcast family member shirt out. Free. All you need to do is hit me up in the Discord. Get me that information. Wolf, with Williams' wife beater on, that's a red flag. Don't mess with him. Oh, damn. Yeah, I no idea. You know what I'm saying? I got a tank tie. That's what I call a tank tie. I want the white beater. I don't want no white beaters. I don't even like calling them white beater. I got that tank top or that A shirt. Let's use that, the A shirt. So big shout out to that, man. So I will see y'all. We'll be live again. You know I stay live. You know I stay active. Go check the podcast out on Spotify. Go ahead and give me a rating. You know, if you don't like the podcast, just give me a rating. I would prefer a 5-star rating, but go check out the podcast over at Spotify, many other different podcast platforms digitally that we're on, like over 10 or 12 different platforms to digitally stream the podcast, and episodes go up weekly there. Also, go check out the new Instagram page, F1 Minute, the new Instagram page that will be completely dedicated to Formula One content, whereas the Wolfpack Performance page is more of the car build content. And also down below, check out those products, the hats, the coffee mugs, the shirts, purple sectors. That's how Wolfpack Performance family live our life, a purple sector at a time, our best life, living our best life, all right? So we be big on that. So other than that, I'm going to see y'all soon. Family members, I will be on the Discord checking messages. If you've felt that you sent a message and I didn't see it because messages get kind of like buried, send me a new message. Like, hey, Jay, here's my information for my shirt. Send me a new message so it'll come back up to the top and I'll see it and scroll through that. All right. So big shout out to you. I'm about to get out of here. About to go eat some grapes, drink some water, stay healthy. All right. Peace.